another installment of Heritage and History with Maureen Taylor and
Amy Johnson Crow.
Amy Johnson Crow, where we sometimes dish about stuff happening in the genealogy world and share what we're working on. I'm going to put that title right up there on the screen, Heritage and History. And it is a Be Live program, which means you can join in by making comments on our pages. And I see we have one person already in the room, which is fantastic. Thank you very much, Robin Goodman, for joining us. I can see you.
But not really.
No, not really.
Yeah,
no, you ask a
like
question.
not like a creepy webcam or anything like that.
No. We already have a comment. Kate Keller says, hey, y'all.
Hey, Kate.
Hey, Kate. So we have an action-packed session today. We have an agenda, which has completely disappeared, but we sort of know what we're going to talk about. So if you don't know Amy is a fantastic genealogist, and she has this awesome, we're going to do our business pitch first while we're waiting for people to join us. Amy has something that she does online called 52 Ancestors in 52 Weeks. Amy, you want to give us the elevator pitch?
So 52 Ancestors in 52 Weeks. It is a free series of writing prompts to get people to write or do something with their genealogy. So one of the things that we really should be doing with our genealogy is writing it, getting it out of our databases and getting it out of our filing cabinets and getting it into some sort of format that others can enjoy. And what I have found is that people often get stuck on, well, who do I write about? What do I write about? So each week you get a prompt. This week's prompt is taxes. So yeah, I figured that was appropriate to have the week of April 15th. So you might write about a discovery that you made with tax records, or maybe you have an ancestor who was a tax collector, and I've seen a couple people use this angle on it, ancestors that were taxing to find. I think we all have some of those.
That's a good one.
So you can sign up for free over at amyjohnsoncrow.com/52 ancestors, and you can get a weekly prompt to get you doing something with your genealogy.
Right. So I signed up, Amy. I haven't actually, contributed, but it has pushed me to look at maybe an ancestor a week. Just pick one out of the family tree and learn something else about them that I didn't know. So I think whatever you do with it, it's worth it because it pushes you a little bit closer to doing something with all that family tree information.
Exactly. And there's no right or wrong way to interpret the prompts. It's just meant to get you thinking about it and doing something with it. That's the whole point.
Right. So my sort of business push for this broadcast is my new course called Identifying Family Photographs. It's a 9-lesson course, and there are 3 options. If you go to my website, maureentaylor.com, you can get more details. So version 1 is just the online 9 lessons. The mid-priced lesson includes 3 webinars where you get to ask lots of questions. And I haven't actually scheduled any of those yet because the shopping cart for this course hasn't closed yet. And then the third option, and it includes 2 workbooks, and the third option is an interactive option so that you actually, for each of the 9 lessons, answer questions in the quiz to see how much you've learned in the lesson. But also for each lesson, you upload a photo and tell me your research that you've done on it.
Nice.
I had somebody sign up and jump right in. And so what happens is I get an email saying that you finished that lesson and here's your answer and here's your quiz. And then I look at it and then I can make suggestions. There was a source that someone hadn't considered and I sent them the link for it.
So they get to pick your brain a little bit.
They get to pick my brain a lot, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you know what? For me, it's so much fun. So that's my pitch. Go to MaureenTaylor.com or on Facebook and click that little graphic and you'll get more information on it. I'm having a blast with it, and I hope all the people that have signed up are too.
Awesome. That sounds like fun.
Yes. Now, let's get down to business, which
Yeah.
is things that we need to talk about. So, Amy, you had a book that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So when I was at Roots Tech, I had the opportunity to go to breakfast at My Heritage,
Right.
and they had copies of this book, and I'm so glad that I picked it up. See if I can put it up here. It's called Something Beautiful Happened. Something Beautiful Happened, and it's by Yvette, and I'm going to mess up her name horribly. Yvette, I'm really sorry about this. Yvette Meneses Corporon.
Okay.
But it's called Something Beautiful Happened, and it's the story of her grandmother who grew up on a tiny Greek island. And there was a Jewish family on this Greek island at the onset of World War II.
Mm.
And it's how this island banded together to hide this Jewish family from the Nazis. The Nazis suspected that there was a Jewish family on this Greek island, and they were going to find them. And the efforts of the islanders to hide that family.
What a fascinating story.
It is fascinating. I didn't realize that there is a history of Greek Jews. That was completely unknown to me. And just this story, it was an aspect of World War II that I'd never heard of. I haven't finished the book yet, but so far it's a fascinating book. So again, something Beautiful Happened by Yvette Meneses Corporon. And thank you to My Heritage for giving me a copy of it.
Yes, and for giving me a copy as well. So it's on my pile of books to read as well. But with Amy's recommendation, I'll certainly move it a little closer to the top of the pile. My book let's see if I can actually do this, share this, is a copy as well.
Oops.
Whoops.
So sorry.
My book to talk about is The Great War in America. It's actually not out yet. It doesn't actually come out until December 4th, but this one popped up on my radar. I do not know enough about World War I. No one in my family served, but as we know as genealogists, there's some really good World War I records. So this particular book, The Great War in America, World War I and its aftermath, doesn't talk just about the war, but the effect of the war on how we changed as a country.
Ooh.
And so this is on my list to look at when it finally comes out way in December. But I think it's worth it. Now, I don't have anyone in my family who served in World War I. Do you, Amy?
No, I don't either. And it's certainly an aspect of American history that it's like we go from the Civil War to World War II. We
pretty much
we jump over World War I, and we don't consider, Europe and Australia, New Zealand. They lost almost an entire generation of men.
Yes, they did. They did. And those World War I draft registration cards, actually, look at this. We even have a comment. I was going to say it, but Deborah beat me to it. She said the World War I draft registration cards are a fabulous resource, and they
really are. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Deborah. Oops, and Yvonne popped in and said that she'd bought my entry-level course and that she's done the first lesson, and it's really interesting. Thank you, Yvonne. So in sort of other things that we've been doing, can I show the inside of something that I've been doing? I'm going to
sure
to the broadcast.
Always like behind the scenes.
Yeah, so this is really behind the scenes. So this is the attic of the Providence, Rhode Island City Hall. And so I've been working with another genealogist. I don't know if you know Diane Bormont, and we have a project, but we can't really announce yet. But we have been getting inside tours of all of these Rhode Island repositories, and we were just beside ourselves when the city archivist said he would take us all the way up to the top of the building, which is a mansard roof. And so we're up in that building, and you can go up even further because there are little windows, but we didn't do that. It was a pretty narrow staircase. But we went through every nook and cranny in that building and looking for records and studying some things. And what was fun was that someone at Roots Tech had come up to me and she said, "Oh, I hear you live in Rhode Island, and my ancestor was born in this house." And we talked about exactly where the house is, and now it's a coffee shop. And she said, "But I know nothing about this ancestor." So while we were at the Providence City Archives, I had printed out her email, and I said, "Do you think, can we find anything for her?" And they did. They found a death, not a record, like a report, a death report that had been there was a suicide in the family. And it included the entire death record. And then on the back was the newspaper article covering some of that. So we have had a total blast asking people to take us into the inner sanctums of all of their places. Some places I'd never been before, which is pretty cool. And yeah, Lauren Marling is like, "I'm jealous." Too bad, Lauren.
I'm jealous.
Too bad, Lauren. I'll catch up with you. But that's sort of what I've been working on, and it's almost done, and we'll be able to make an announcement soon.
Very cool.
What have you been working on, Amy?
Oh, working on some...
I know you have a secret project.
I do have a secret project. It involves some videos. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. You'll make the announcement later.
Yeah.
In keeping with...
Yeah, watch the space, I would say, at our next installment.
Right. So the last time Amy and I were together, we were at Roots Tech doing this live.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, look, Robin Goodman has weighed in. Oh, it's a long comment. So she said she actually does have World War I Navy ancestors and transport troop ships. Found the ship my great-grandfather was stationed on, the USS South Dakota, ACR-9, fascinating history. And that she actually wrote an article to the Naval Museum in Washington, D.C., and they added it to their website.
Ooh.
How cool was that?
Way to go, Robin.
Way to go, Robin. Very cool. So I went to this World War I thing here in Rhode Island a few weeks ago. Whoops, I'm going to try to get rid of one of these. Here we go. We don't need Caleb anymore. So this is on the Connecticut Public Radio website, and I think it links to recordings that are on the National Archive. But if you want to hear the voices of people who served in World War I, you can go to Connecticut Public Radio, and I will put the link in. Actually, I have it right here. Oh, I can't actually put it in the comments, but it is, where's that agenda? Here we go. Let me put it in here. It's www.crisradio.org. You do that and click on Voices of World War I. A long time ago, when I first started my career, there were still some World War I vets alive, and they would come into the library where I worked and tell some amazing stories. So I'm looking forward to listening to some of these. And at this World War I roadshow of sorts, I went over to see what would come up with it. And there were two people. I don't know if I mentioned this already on my Facebook Live or not. It's been a long month, but there were two people that came, and their fathers had fought in World War I.
Right.
So you sort of had late marriages or second marriages or whatever, and they had photographs, and people had uniforms. It was amazing to see what these people had in their attics. I mean, we're genealogists, right? So we know that people have stuff, in the attic.
Oh, yeah.
But this was stunning. And Connecticut, the Connecticut State Library, I believe it was there, or the Connecticut Historical Study. One of them was there with scanners and personnel, and they were scanning and documenting everything, photographing it, getting people to tell their stories about things. So World War I is pretty much in the news again, because this is the end of it this year.
And we're also seeing similar events around the country pertaining to World War II vets.
Yes.
Because we're losing World War II vets at just an astonishing rate.
Here's my World War II vet.
Aw.
My dad.
Oh my gosh. How handsome is he?
He sits on my desk.
Aw.
Yeah. I need to know more about his service.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a lot more being written about World War II. We have a colleague, Jennifer Hollick, whose specialty is, in fact, she has this World War II research center that she works on. And yes, we're losing there's not that many, I think, vets left at this point.
Yeah. Sad.
It is kind of sad.
I need to get their stories.
We do need to get their stories. So if you have a chance to sit down with someone and record their life story, you'll never regret it.
Yeah, you're right.
The story that you'll hear will be just a different lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So on with that, do you have an app you wanted to share? Oh, here's the agenda.
I don't really have an app. The app that I've been using most lately has been Weather Underground, because we're on 17th winter here in Central Ohio.
Oh,
it's kind of ridiculous. Now we are having blue sky, and I think it's supposed to get up to 70 today. But literally one day last week, it was in the 70s. The next day we had 2 inches of snow.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for the last, I don't know, it seems like forever.
Yeah. We had snow flurries here on Monday.
We did too.
And I was in the Midwest last weekend. Big shout out to the Burlington Public Library in Burlington, Iowa. What a great crowd. And it was 15 degrees in the morning. It was really chilly, and there was snow flurries. The daffodils in my garden have not opened yet. It is supposed to be 70 on Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're getting my weather here in a couple of days. Right now, it's really, really nice, but it is super windy. So if you hear something crash, it's just the pine tree coming and crashing down onto my house. That's all. I keep looking at it. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, those of us you're in the mid part of the country and I'm on the East Coast, and we're done.
Yeah, so done.
So done. We should have the heat turned off by now, but there's no way I'm turning that thermostat off. It's too cold. So I would like to talk about someone that I met at Roots Tech, which is Generation Story. And I believe if I just get to the website, where's sometimes BeLive hides stuff, but Generation Story. It's a new app, and I'm playing with it to document all the artifacts that I have.
Ooh.
And it's a little free app, and you take a picture and then you enter in a title for the object, and then you enter in information about it. And Shannon it's a wonderful website, and it's a wonderful idea. And one of the things that she showed me was she has a way of, say you have something that you associate with your family, like even a picture that you want everyone to have. She has a way of making a scarf, like printing that design on fabric.
Ooh.
And creating products. So I've been madly thinking since Roots Tech, what do I want to do? What kind of scarf do I want?
Yeah,
what will look good on the fabric?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
and I was just looking at that. I see that it is available on iOS.
It is available on iOS. I believe they have plans to take it elsewhere too.
Yeah.
I'll show you the screen. It's really easy. I was playing with it before we went on. I have a lot more playing to do. Oh, you can't really see it. So they bleach out. But
Maybe angled a
basically,
little
the
bit.
photo, an item title, an item description, a year, a place of origin, the person who owned them, and then the item story. And they have plans to, and you can share it. So once you've done it, you can share it on Twitter, Facebook, text, email. So you can document things and then send them to members of your family.
Perfect.
And you can look at them, which is perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Artifacts sort of get overlooked. I think we have, you know what would be good just to touch on, Amy, since it's in the news and everybody's really worried about it.
What's that?
Again, it's the platform that we're on right now.
About Facebook?
About Facebook. So here's my take, and then I'm sure Amy, as a technical person, you have another take. My take is I really like Facebook. It gives me something to talk about at family reunions. I get to keep up with everyone's kids and grandkids and everything else, their travels. And I know I have a public job, but I'm actually a bit of an introvert at times. And so being out in a big group of people, I find having all that sort of information in my brain and in my fingertips actually helps me with conversation. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, yes, I got one of those notices that many of you have probably seen that said that one of my Facebook friends had used one of those apps. What, Discover Your Life, I think it was.
I think this is your digital life.
This is your digital life, way back in 2015.
Right.
And I got a report on that. And so basically, I tend not to participate in any online quizzes. Mm-hmm. My rules for being on Facebook I don't share lots of personal information. And I don't share posts that don't originate in a reputable newspaper or magazine. So you're not going to find me sharing a video with a Cyrillic title.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all suspect. That said, I spend a lot of time on the pages like the Photo Detective page or the Amy Johnson Crow page, mm-hmm. the professional pages of people and places and organizations that I follow, mm-hmm. because that's our sort of genealogy newspaper, online newspaper.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. And so mostly, I mean, just guard what you share, be careful what you share. I mean, everybody tracks you. Google tracks you, your phone tracks you, smart TVs track you. Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's also a misconception about what businesses have about you when they say, oh, Facebook is tracking you. So a lot of websites use a piece of code that Facebook provides that lets Facebook know when people have visited that particular website.
Yes.
And it then allows advertisers to better place their ads on Facebook.
And in Messenger.
And yeah.
I'm getting them in Messenger.
Yeah. They've actually put an embargo on new Facebook Messenger bots.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because just of some privacy issues and also things that are coming out of Europe. But when a company runs an ad on Facebook, it's not like Facebook gives that company, here's a list of the 20,000 people that have visited your website. No. What happens is the advertiser wants to put an ad on Facebook, and you can tell an ad on Facebook because it'll have the word sponsored under it.
Yes.
So that's what that is. But so the advertiser could say, okay, Facebook, send this ad to people who you think have been to my website, or people who like genealogy, or people who say that they like country music, or whatever.
Right. It's
And
different than the
that's
Cambridge. It's very different than the Cambridge Analytica thing.
exactly. And I think that people are confusing the two things. But as an advertiser, Facebook doesn't give that advertiser a list of, okay, here are the 20,000 people that we're going to show this ad to.
Right.
The advertiser just tells Facebook, show this ad to people who've been to my website.
Absolutely. We have a couple of comments.
That's all
Lauren,
it is. That's all that part is.
Yeah. Lauren Meyerling says, those of us who are on Facebook understand the information is available to others. As a genealogist, I've made use of its resources to find many distant cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about the pages you can create and the almost research shortcuts you can do.
And the groups. And I do think that we need that all of us need to be responsible internet citizens.
Yes.
We should have our profiles locked down so that we're not sharing everything with everybody.
Right.
Right. And as a genealogist trying to make some connections, there's a part of me, it's like, but I want it to be open so I can find those people. But but if we're going to be good, responsible internet citizens, I think that we need to also understand that we shouldn't be broadcasting everything to everybody.
Exactly. One has to be smart about it.
Yeah.
Or savvy about it. And Deborah Stock says that she also thinks Facebook is invaluable, that she's been using it to post photos of ancestors on their birthdays with a bio story. There you go, 52 ancestors in 52 weeks. To share with family members, and friends have found them interesting too. Exactly. Security, privacy settings, and we click on, as you suggest. Exactly. So, I mean, certainly this news story isn't going away anytime soon.
No.
But if you use any kind of social media, your information is pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you are doing anything online,
anything,
chances are you're being tracked. It's
Google,
just like,
especially.
Well, and think about those little loyalty discount cards that you get at your grocery store.
Yes,
the one
they're tracking you.
Yeah, they're tracking you, and they're tracking everything that you buy. How do you think you get those? Oh, they sent me this coupon, and I happen to use that brand.
I just bought it.
That's how that works.
I know. I was on YouTube yesterday because I like to listen to music on YouTube, and I just came back from Iowa, but I think I just posted on Facebook one thing, and I had information on my reservations in my Gmail account, which I use for junk. And one of the first ads that comes up on YouTube yesterday was all about beautiful Iowa. And I was like, I've already been there. I'm back. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah, it isn't a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. We have one more comment, which is from Robin Goodman. Thank you all for joining into our discussion. Facebook is great for sharing photos and stories to my private family page.
Yep.
Plus, I was able to messenger a distant relative that I would never have found otherwise. I learned valuable info from her in regards to a brick wall. Yeah. Pluses and minuses. It's all about
Definitely.
that. So, Amy, did we pick a date for? Our next one is when we're at
NGS.
NGS.
Yes.
So we'll be broadcasting live from NGS.
Yes.
For Heritage and History, doing a sort of view of what's happening. And then after NGS, we'll be at, I have Jamboree in between, but after that, we'll be at FGS.
And speaking of FGS, if you go to fgs.org, they have released a sneak peek of the program. And I know a couple of people who are on that program.
I don't know who you could be talking about.
I wonder. But FGS is going to be in Fort Wayne. I mean, come on.
I know. Do I get a booth this time, Amy? Or do I just do the 2 lectures on Saturday and then just spend the rest of the time
in the library?
In the library.
Yeah, that's a tough
one.
That's a tough decision. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I mean, literally, the FGS conference is going to be literally across the street from the Allen County Public Library. I mean, is that like the most perfect place for a genealogy conference? And I'm really looking forward to that. But you can see the program right now at fgs.org, and registration should be opening really soon.
And the Allen County Public Library has books.
They have books.
Books.
And microfilm and microfilm. Data. They've got it's huge.
It is huge.
It is huge. Wear comfortable shoes.
Yes, and I have to admit, I was there a couple of years ago doing some lectures for the public library, and I went in and looked at, because it's a public library, they have more than just genealogy books. So I was able to do some research on some other related things that I needed a really good public library for. So I was really impressed.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic facility. It's literally across the street from the convention center.
And if you don't follow them on, I believe it's Instagram, they do that Face Friday thing that's hysterical, where they put a book cover in front of one of their staff person's head, and they're dressed so it looks like their face is.
They've got a great Instagram account. I love following them.
Might be lost in translation, but check it out. It's pretty funny to look at on Friday.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, fun. All right. So I think this is a wrap, Amy.
I think it is, Maureen.
We've done it again. Another Heritage in History with Amy Johnson Crow and Maureen Taylor. Go to our websites, maureentaylor.com and amyjohnsоncrow.com, our Facebook pages, and tell your friends to watch us once a month. And we will see you from NGS in Grand Rapids.
Yes.
And it better not snow.
If it's snowing in May, I'm done. I'm done.
It could snow.
It could.
It's Michigan, after all.
It is.
All right. Thank you all very much. Talk to you next time.